All right. All right, guys. We're here for the NFL draft. The Ultimate Draft Challenge, the Ultimate Superfan Challenge. Right now we've got Sam, Falcons fan, and Rob, the random Jets fan, with us. And tonight we're going to go over how the Ultimate Draft works and just do a little test run, mock draft. The first 10 to 15 picks. We'll see how it goes. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Pretty good.
All right, guys. So if you're not familiar with how this draft challenge works, for each pick, you're going to select whether or not you think the pick is going to be traded. If you think it's going to be traded, you'll check the box. If it's going to be traded, you're also going to pick trade partner. All right. From there, it could be anybody, whoever you think. On draft night, the answers will be filled in. The points will accumulate. If it's traded, the pick is traded, you'll get points. If you get the correct partner, you get points. The second part of the draft challenge is you're going to select a player or a position, one or the other. You select player, you get 10 points if you get it correct. You select position, you get 5 points if you get it correct. And it's that simple. That's all you got to do.
Easy enough.
Absolutely.
That being said, the NFL draft is a little more than a week away. You got the Panthers on the clock. And the Panthers are on the clock, and I think that you don't trade up in the first round unless you're drafting a quarterback.
No,
Of course.
no.
What do you guys think?
Yeah,
No,
it's going to
that's-
be nice.
Yeah, it's very transparent. It's just who at this point.
And the pick is in. Drum roll. The Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama.
Yeah. As an Atlanta fan and an Alabama fan, I hate that.
What do you think? Isn't he a little small? What do you think? I mean, he's smaller than Pat White was.
He's not that much smaller than Kyler Murray. I get Kyler Murray looks like a hobbit on the field, dude, but I mean, Bryce Young, like he said in his press conference, he's been that size his whole life. He knows how to win. I will feel a lot more comfortable if the Panthers take Stroud.
Yeah, I don't think the size really matters all that much. If you can play, you can play. I think that stigma's kind of been broken for a little while now. Kyler Murray, he can play. He's just kind of a head case. And, you got like Russell Wilson and those guys. If you can play, you can play. I think that stigma's broken, especially with the way the NFL is now. It's a lot more college ready than it used to be. College kids are running more pro offenses more and more now. It's the NFL is a passing league, but it's kind of being tailored around the quarterback. OCs and coaches, head coaches, they're kind of more willing to form their offense around their players now. So I don't think the size is really that big of a deal. If he was like 5'5", 5'8", then okay, you got something. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. He's the best quarterback in this year's draft. CJ Stroud, he's going to have the Ohio State stigma of they don't pan out. You've seen the last couple of Ohio State quarterbacks not looking so hot right now. So I think it's going to be, it's going to be Bryce Young.
All right. Well, I think Sam said it all when, that division's up for grabs. And
oh, yeah.
He doesn't want that pick.
Yeah.
So. All right, we got the Texans on the clock. I think there's one of two ways they can go with this pick. What do you guys think? Quarterback or the best defensive player in the draft?
I mean, DeMeco Ryans maybe goes defensive as, with his background and everything, but I can't – I would feel like that's just a colossal mistake if they skip. And like I said, I am an Alabama fan. I do think Will Anderson's absolutely great, but – They need a quarterback, and if they wait till 12 and get the last guy, whether it's Levis or Hooker, I don't. It's not going to have the same effect for their franchise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think there's been the rumors lately that they're kind of falling out of love with CJ. So I honestly think that a trade might be a good possibility because I don't think you throw that out there hoping to have someone jump up and trade with you when you need a quarterback that bad. I think, if I think at that point you just take the quarterback that you want. I mean, they have a choice of 3 quarterbacks, So I mean,
Yeah.
even if Bryce Young's their guy, I don't think you kind of throw that out there if you really aren't in love and you think you can trade back a couple spots and still get the quarterback that you ultimately want. If they wanted CJ Stroud, they stay there and take CJ Stroud. I think Tennessee or Indy is a good possibility to trade up. I mean, you're only falling back a couple of spots, and you still probably get a haul for that. So I think there's a good possibility, but if they stay, it's going to be CJ.
For what it's worth, CJ Stroud's agent is the same agent that Deshaun Watson had when he was with the Texans, so there may be some bad blood there. Just saying.
Is he really?
Yeah, you might see an Eli Manning scenario where he just says he won't play for the Texans.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that. That's kind of crazy, actually. Yeah, there's a lot of bad blood there. Then
it'll be interesting to see what happens. Well, right now the pick is in. The
There
Houston Texans select CJ Stroud, quarterback.
All right.
Sam, what do you think?
It's the right move on paper. If it works out, then that's great. I do like Bryce Young there better than Carolina, even for my non-selfish reasons. Having John Mechie there to pair with him, who's just coming back and getting his first reps, it's like they're getting their 2 top picks back year after year. But hey, if they get Stroud, he could be great too.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, this is where I'm not like in love with any of these other quarterbacks at this point. I feel like, almost what you could possibly get at 12 could be equal to what you're getting at 2, which is why I don't hate going with, one of those defensive guys, Jalen Carter, or Will Anderson. That wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't hate it if I was a Texans fan. I'm not saying it's the right move. Just saying I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, if they take Richardson, they're probably going to have to start Davis Mills for another year anyway.
They're not winning with either of them this year. It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah, I mean, this year's just kind of like a mulligan year anyway, kind of, because you got DeMeco Ryans, you got a new coaching staff. I mean, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt and get a mulligan anyway. So, I mean, if you think next year's draft, if you're not going to be good anyway, and next year's draft, you have like Caleb Williams, Drake May, them coming out, then maybe you just, what, we're not tanking, but we know we're not going to be good, and we're going to get the benefit of the doubt anyway. So
that worked out for them really well until the last week this year,
Yep.
All right. Well, now we got the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Arizona with the new head coach, Jonathan Gannon. I don't think we know too much about this guy. At least I don't. What do you think, Sam? You know anything about him? Is he good for Kyler Murray?
Was he the Eagles D coordinator, or am I missing that or getting that wrong? I can't remember. But honestly, I'm not, obviously I can't say anything about the coach and Kyler, but anything should be better than what was going on there. But I don't think that on draft night, if the board pans out this way, Arizona's not making this pick. I mean, I think that somebody's going to try and jump Indy and take the 3rd quarterback because there's such a big drop off between Richardson's potential and Levis.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's going to get a haul. They can, especially if you have 4 quarterbacks going in possibly top 6, then you're going to get a haul and you can still get somebody. I mean, hopefully, probably won't be there, but like someone like a Will Anderson or something might drop down that much. And if not, well, then, I mean, no blood loss. You're still getting, a top 10 prospect plus a ton of picks back. So They can't lose this pick. Honestly, it's a win-win whether they choose Will Anderson or whoever, or trade back a couple of spots.
Well, if they are picking here and they aren't taking a quarterback, obviously, I feel like Will Anderson is the only pick that makes sense. Jalen Carter is the only guy in his stratosphere with potential wise, and Will Anderson doesn't have any of the off-field crap that Jalen Carter's had going on. Tyree Wilson, I've seen him show up in this pick sometimes, but I mean the drop off is just massive. Like Will Anderson had 35 sacks in 3 years, and Tyree Wilson had 17 and 4. It's a huge difference. And so if they don't take Will Anderson here, they're trading. Anybody else would be just stupidity.
Yeah, I think the whole Jalen Carter situation, you already got the headache and Kyler Murray and all the issues with him going on. Do you really want to add Jalen Carter into that? And now you probably have 2 headaches. I mean, the guy couldn't even be ready for the biggest interview in his life. He couldn't even finish it. So does he really want it? Is he just going to – and he didn't even take any interviews with teams outside the top 10. So, I mean, you're that narcissistic, like, nah, it doesn't matter what happened. If I failed the biggest interview of my life, if I did this off the field, blah, 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 I'm going top 10, so I'm just not even going to bother. Do you really want to deal with that? I went in as the Cardinals. I would rather just trade out of the pick if you're not taking Will Anderson.
Right.
Well, the pick is in. Arizona Cardinals select Will Anderson Jr., edge, Alabama.
There he is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good pick. I mean, it's arguably, the best defensive player in the draft, right? You can argue him or Jalen Carter. So I'm trying to type this shit in the ticker right now. And I got something blocking me.
That's why we're doing this.
Exactly.
Working out the bugs.
Can you hear me typing?
No.
Mm-mm.
But I did think about it. We're all going to have the draft playing, and it's probably going to be out of sync, and I'm probably going to have to watch this on mute, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was thinking also that we can't have it playing in the background. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it's got to be on mute.
Yo, we had a viewer, but he's gone.
Oh. I'm back on the 27th.
All right. No, it's this dude. I did this with this guy on the weekend, on his channel, and he was on that channel, so he subscribed. He's on the Dolphins channels. All right, sorry guys. All right, we got the Colts on the clock. All right, the Colts with a new head coach, Shane Steichen. They need a quarterback. They picked up Gardner Minshew in the offseason, but if I was a Colts fan, I wouldn't be satisfied with that. I want to win now. Who knows? Who knows how long we got? So I want to win now. You got a 4th pick in the draft. You're in position to get a quarterback if you believe one is worthy of that pick. So I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to go quarterback. I think they're another team that's just going to take a mulligan this year. Again, new coaching staff and everything. You picked up Gardner Minshew, who can prove he can win you games. You can at least start games and be competent. So I think that they're going to draft a quarterback, whoever it is. I mean, Will Levis is the big rumor. Is it Anthony Richardson? I don't know. But I think they're just going to take that quarterback and just sit him behind Gardner for the year. Take a mulligan. They know they're not going to be great with or without starting their new quarterback. So. But it's going to be quarterback, I think.
I agree that it's probably going to be quarterback, provided that Richardson is still there or one of the big 2. If it's just Levis, is a scenario where I can see them making the Knight trade and taking Lamar. But that's the only way that I can see Lamar moving. Otherwise, I think he stays a Raven.
Yeah.
But if Richardson is there, like you're saying, Rob, this is a kind of a mulligan kind of year. They take a guy like him with just off the chart measurables. Shane Steichen, obviously working with Jalen Hurts last year. He knows the mobile quarterback. He knows how to play that whole game. And I mean, how many quarterback sneaks they had with Jalen Hurts. Can you imagine Anthony Richardson lining up and doing that?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think that prospect intrigues them. I probably think that they have Richardson higher on their board than possibly Stroud. But if this is a year to kind of rebuild, it's the perfect year to let him sit behind somebody.
Yeah,
Probably
for sure. I think Richardson is probably the better option here, especially since you have a guy like Minshew, who, like I said, he can start games and win some games for you.
Mm-hmm.
I think Richardson's especially like I said, you got Steichen there now, who is with Jalen Hurts, and I think that those juices are flowing in his head. Like, just imagine what I can do with somebody who's 3 inches taller and 20 pounds heavier.
Right.
With a bigger arm, more probably more mobile. So I think Richardson's the perfect pick right here for Indy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the pick is in. Indianapolis Colts Will Levis, quarterback. I'm not surprised for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it just feels like a Colts quarterback. You know what I'm saying? A strong arm guy. Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. I'm not saying he's good as those guys, but hard throwing guys feels right.
I mean, I can't knock them if they make this pick. I just think that the upside of Richardson and you having the affordability to allow him to sit for a year, I think that's too good to pass up.
Yeah, I mean, everybody makes big predictions about quarterbacks before the draft, and it gets proven right or wrong. I used to fight with a guy who thought that Josh Allen was the stupidest pick that Buffalo could have made, because he was wildly inaccurate. And there he is. It falls into place, and that cannon arm is there. I mean, Will Levis could be something. I don't know. I look at him and I think that he's the bust. But there's a reason why I don't get paid by the NFL.
Yeah.
This team wasn't that bad a couple years ago. I mean, the offensive line was one of the best in the league. They had Jonathan Taylor, the run game. They were a quarterback away from advancing.
This time last year, I thought that they were finally going to be the offensive line and run game that Matt Ryan deserved to have in his career, and that he was going to shine. And all of a sudden, it just fell apart with really no explanation. I mean, there weren't like major injuries to the O-line that wrecked everything. Like, I mean, just from the gate, they were terrible.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't help. Jonathan Taylor fell apart too.
Yeah.
During the year, he missed what, 10, 11 games, something like that. Like, he just fell apart. And then Matt Ryan he looked like he couldn't throw the ball.
He imploded. Yeah, absolutely. That was painful to watch.
That was. I felt bad for him.
Sorry, man. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
hit the fuck you button on us.
Do that again, I'm out of here. All right. We got the Seattle Seahawks on the clock. The 5th pick.
This is Jalen Carter. I mean, Jalen Carter is a Pete Carroll pick. And I mean, at this point, they would be stupid not to take him, I feel like.
Yeah, I think, if anybody's going to take a player with, off the field issues, it's probably going to be Pete Carroll. I mean, look what he did with like Marshawn and him, and the guys like Cam Chancellor and all them, and he's a player's coach, so I think if there's anyone who can really like get into him and like understand him and help him, really kind of put that stuff behind them, it's probably Pete Carroll. But I will say I wouldn't be surprised if they went out and got like a Tyree Wilson or something like that, or even like a what was I gonna say, like who's the tight end, the
Mayer.
Mayer. I wouldn't be surprised. Just add more weapons for Geno. You know, they got a solid O line now after drafting the 2 tackles last year. I mean, their O line it's pretty solid. They got a good running game. They got DK and all of them.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they just added another weapon somewhere. They're pretty set at receiver, but like a tight end like Mayer or something like that, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, the simulator is probably going to make me sound stupid here, but the only position that I don't think that they have a reasonable shot at taking is quarterback, and that's just because Pete Carroll is going to retire before whatever quarterback he's grooming is going to be ready. So he's going to try and win out with Geno and push all the chips in.
Yep,
that's a good point. The pick is in. Seattle Seahawks select Jalen Carter. Ooh, that's capital H. That shouldn't be there. All right. I'm going to get that off the screen. It's a good pick. They should be happy up in Seattle with that guy. He could have, and then different draft, he could have went number 1 overall. Who knows?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're worrying about 5 or 6 teams that really need quarterbacks. I think, he could have been.
Well, if he wasn't speeding, maybe Chicago would have stayed there at 1.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, and then the Detroit Lions are on the clock with the 6th pick in the draft.
This one's kind of tough, honestly, because they have a good O-line. I think they're comfortable with Jared Goff. They have good weapons. Jalen Carter's gone. I think this is probably where the first cornerback comes off, probably.
100%. After they traded Okudah to the Falcons last week and gave up on him, after 3 years, it's going to be whoever they like better out of Christian Gonzalez or Devin Witherspoon. Personally, I like Witherspoon better, but that's just me.
Yeah. I mean, Illinois built up pretty good system there for defensive backs, both safeties and cornerbacks. They've built up a pretty nice little system. I don't get the trading Okudah, especially if you're gonna go and get a cornerback with your first pick in a draft, top 6 pick. Okudah could have been the number 2. Who knows? He could have been a really solid number 2.
The crazy thing about it is
you got like a 5th round pick.
A 5th round pick, and they had to eat some of his salary on top of that. So
it didn't make sense.
They would have paid him $10.5 million this year, but they ate his salary bonus, which is $7 million, and then they took the $1.5 million that they negotiated to take off of the Falcons' plate. So they're paying him $8.5 million to not be there. They got 1 5th round pick in return. I mean, that's just so stupid, especially since his rookie year, he was coming off of a college injury. He didn't really play well, but he wasn't healthy. Then the second year, he tears his Achilles game 1 and then misses the whole season. Comes back the next year, and he's still rehabbing the Achilles. I mean, this is really his first semi-normal offseason. Semi-normal because he got traded. But, I mean, he was a number 3 overall pick. You don't just trade that off for nothing. That was so dumb.
Exactly. Especially when he has a lot to prove. Like I said, if you move him to the number 2 or something like that, he probably would have played better, honestly. Not have to worry about guarding number 1 on the other team.
Well, I mean, maybe they'll try and pick him up after this year. He's probably just a 1-year rental in Atlanta. I mean, they're not going to take his 5th-year option. And, I mean, he'll look probably pretty good playing a year with A.J. Terrell, Casey Hayward, Jesse Bates. That's a good secondary.
Oh, yeah.
He'll probably look pretty decent doing it and then go get paid somewhere else.
If he does
Yeah,
that, you guys will get a comp pick too.
Exactly. Trade a 5th-round pick to get a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, that was a nice chess move there by the Falcons on that one.
Our new GM is freaking awesome, dude. He really is.
Yeah, I like him. I like Arthur Smith too. I thought that was a good pickup.
Devon Witherspoon, dude. My free agency or my draft board on the League of Superfans is just gonna crush it. I'm just saying.
I just think this year is going to be so tough, especially with draft. I think there's going to be so much movement in the draft this year. So much movement.
Top 10 is really probably going to move around a lot. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if somebody goes and takes 3 away from Arizona and 3 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3. I can almost guarantee that Atlanta's going to try and move up for Will Anderson. I think that they're like all over the place this year.
They have a good amount of picks, don't they?
They've got a 1, 2, a 3, and 2 4s. So I mean, they can move up, but I mean, they've been just signing left and right. You know, like the team, they did a really good job of addressing all of the actual holes, and so I think that really the biggest thing that they need, besides a left guard, which you don't take in the 1st round, is a premier edge rusher. And you don't get that guy in free agency. They didn't go after Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson are like really the only 2 who even have a shot to do it. Nolan Smith is too skinny.
Yeah,
and Lucas Van Ness didn't even start.
All right. All right, we got the Las Vegas Raiders with Jimmy G in the house.
So is there a way to make that the Lions select go away before that slide comes on?
Yes, I have to do it right.
Okay. All right.
So this is how it goes. I right now I press pick is in, right?
Yep.
Let's say Houston's up. I click
Yep.
Houston selects, but in real time I'll have to type that in, and that's what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? Prior to that, Now once I typed it in, it's already in. But I have to be better in clicking these things on and off. Like I left that up too long.
I mean, I don't think it'll until the big banner comes up. It just blocks the needs.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it off quicker. I'm just
all right
for whatever reason. My timing's not right.
I think the timing would probably be better on draft day too, because I mean, from the time that the banner on TV comes on, you know, the pick is in, you got like a solid 15 seconds or so.
Oh yeah.
I think that'll be a nice little gap to, you know, figure out what to do next.
So, all right. So we got the Raiders. They have their needs up here as quarterback. I'm not a believer in Jimmy G, so you know, if Anthony Richardson's still on the board there, I wouldn't mind him because you don't have to start him right away. But I'm no expert.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Jimmy.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Sam. No, you're good. Go ahead.
All right, I agree with you. The board fell this way. I probably, if I'm the Raiders, I probably would take Richardson to sit behind Jimmy G and learn. But I won't take Levis there. I have a feeling Levis falls as far as the Vikings or the Titans. You know, but Richardson could do all right there, and you've got Jimmy G. I mean, he gets hurt a lot, but you know, rookies need snaps too sometimes, and at least he won't have some of the same pressure. But you know, this is normally where the draft starts to get a little cloudy. They could be looking at Christian Gonzalez here as probably the best overall player left on the board. You know, they could go a handful of ways on this. You know, Michael Mayer could be there as a tight end or a wide receiver could be there. Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jordan Addison. They have a couple ways that they can go here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimmy G's contract is actually really just like a 1-year contract anyway. I mean, when you break it down with the guaranteed money and everything, you're not going to lose a whole lot if you ditch him after this year. This is tough. This one is tough too because, again, this is a team where you look at the division and look, the Raiders aren't going to really make noise. You got the Chiefs, you got the Chargers, even though the Chargers, blow it at the end of the year every year. Denver's coming back with Sean Payton. I mean, it's tough. So do you really bank on Jimmy G this year and load him up with weapons and see what they can do? Or do you or if Richardson's here, do you take a guy like Richardson, let him sit for a year, and then go all in the following years? It's tough. I mean, if Richardson's here, I'm taking Richardson. If Mike Mayock was still the GM, I think they're probably going with 10th best tackle in the draft, or the safety. You got Brian Branch. I think they're going with Brian Branch, but I don't know, man. This one's honestly tough because I don't know if you really trust in if they trust in Jimmy G enough to load up this year, or if they kind of know where their place is in the division, and then they kind of still are retooling a little bit, rebuilding a little bit. This one's tough, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh McDaniels is the guy who drafted Tim Tebow in the first round, right?
Oh, yeah, he was. He was with Denver.
And Anthony Richardson is a Florida quarterback.
There you go. I think it's Richardson then.
We'll see. The pick is in. Raiders select Christian Gonzalez, cornerback.
See, that's my
their
strategy.
defense has been terrible for years, so
one of them will stick.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you can't go wrong there. Their defense has been like one of the bottom ranked defenses for like the past 10 years. So, I mean, I guess. But I don't really know what that does for you this year.
I'm a little leery on Gonzalez anyway, too. I mean, the measurables are off the chart, but he was like really kind of a one-year wonder. And at defensive back, that's a little scary.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when he wasn't really going up against the best competition either.
Right.
So
it's not totally surprising. The Raiders are one of those teams that when they draft, it's like the Raiders are going to Raider. You know what I mean? I mean, you picked Sebastian Janikowski in the second round back in the day, right? Or the first round, was it? I don't even know. But
yeah, I think it was the second round.
They drafted Cleveland Farrell. I remember busting my boys' chops about that. And then
that was so terrible.
Max Crosby in the same draft in the fourth round.
And,
we didn't even mention Jamar. What is his name? Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell. Damon Arnett.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
All right, the moment Sam's been waiting for.
Anthony Richardson's still there.
I mean, how long you been waiting for this moment, Sam? I know you've been waiting for this moment since before the season ended, correct?
Yeah. I mean, really, once I saw that Marcus Mariota was still Marcus Mariota, I've been waiting for this moment. I mean, and I can't remember the last time though that I've been this excited or happy with free agency. Honestly, possibly never. In 32 years of being an Atlanta Falcons fan. So it's a good year. I feel like we have the potential to really like turn things around, and that division is so wide open. If Desmond Ridder is even a serviceable quarterback, I think we win. Might be one and done, but hey, it's progress. At this point in this draft, Tyree Wilson is still on the board. And that's pretty wild. I don't think he really will make it to 8. If that's the case, I don't see them passing up on him. If not, it's kind of a crapshoot between if they're going to be responsible and take a lineman. O-line being, untouched at this point. I think Paris Johnson's the best one, but they might like Skoronski or Jones better. But it's Arthur Smith, who was the offensive coordinator in Tennessee. They've spent a lot of money on defense this offseason, not a lot in offense. And he loved having Derrick Henry. We loved rushing the ball last year, and Bijan Robinson is there.
Ooh.
It's irresponsible, but I have a feeling that it's going to happen. And, like, every time I'm like, okay, they have everything, you know, like, they really need a corner, though. They'll probably take Witherspoon. Oh, then they get Okuda. All right, well, you know, they really need, you know, D-line. They get Calais Campbell. They, you know, like, everything has just kind of led up that way where it's like, okay, they can go wherever they want in this draft. You know, like I said, Paris Johnson's probably the responsible pick. Put him in at left guard until Jake Matthews retires, then move him over to left tackle. But I don't know if they'll be able to pass up on Bijan Robinson. But like I said, if Tyree Wilson is there, they'll probably take him because it's the biggest need that we have. We haven't had a consistent, like, you know, double-digit sack guy since John Abraham last in 2012. You know, that feels like the move that they're going to take. He's a freak, you know, physically. And now they've got a new D coordinator in Ryan Nielsen from the Saints, kind of fills that Cam Jordan type role. I feel like Tyree Wilson is one of the only people that will prevent them from taking Bijan Robinson.
How did you feel about Tyler Algier? I mean, do you really need Bijan Robinson?
No, I don't think we need Bijan Robinson. But like I said, Smith had Derrick Henry, and it was a big, like, you know, he ran the whole league. He ran over the league. And, you know, all it takes is one injury to Tyler Algier. And, you know, obviously running back has some of the highest injury rates in the league. And then you're looking at a 32-year-old Cordell Patterson and Avery Williams, who is a converted corner, who's a kick and punt returner who had 4 carries last year. Caleb Huntley tore his ACL last year, so he's going to start the year on IR. They're going to take a running back in this draft, whether it's undrafted or, you know, a mid-round guy like they did with Algier last year, like, who, again, I really like. But Bijan Robinson is the shiny pick. We didn't need a tight end when we took Kyle Pitts. We did need a wide receiver when we took Drake London, but we also had a lot of other needs. And, you know, they take a big, shiny difference maker, and who moves the needle more than Bijan Robinson?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the offensive weapon, I guess, is the exciting pick in the top 10.
Like I said, it's irresponsible, but I won't be mad.
All right, well, the pick is in. The Atlanta Falcons select Bijan Robinson, running back.
I can just imagine the chants in that stadium.
Is that smile going to be on your face come draft night, Sam?
It will be. I mean, at this point, my head is saying, what the hell? Why wouldn't you take Tyree? But like I said, the first time he touches the ball, I'm going to be grinning ear to ear. It is what it is. You know, you don't pay a running back, but you still get him in the first round. It gives you 5 years of team control, 1 year of a tag, and then you trade him off. I mean, it's smart. It gives you a ton of production. Guy's probably going to be a lock for 250 carries a year.
All right. Well, with that said, oops.
I was like, damn, you got the Bears trading down again.
All right. We got the Bears on the clock with the 9th pick in the draft. I like their quarterback. You know, I think he can do something. He was pretty dynamic, at least against Miami last year. They couldn't stop that man. You know, you get him some weapons, put a defense around him, put an offensive line around him. I think he could do something. You could do worse. It's, you know, not like it's the Jets quarterback.
Who, Aaron Rodgers? Aaron Rodgers?
Man, that was a good shot.
Honestly, I think it has to be a weapon here. They did a really good job on that defense, loading up, you know, trading for DJ Moore, beefing up that line a little bit with Nate Davis. Dante Foreman, I didn't realize he was still even playing. I thought he was retired. Bringing in a guy like Robert Tunyon, who's serviceable. He's a decent tight end. I think it's all about seeing what Justin Fields is, and I think you gotta get him a weapon here. I think you have to go, Smith and Jigba. If you want that really sneaky slot guy who can shake and bake and make guys miss and get really good yak, that's how I would go. The offensive line wasn't. I mean, there were some games where it were pretty god awful, but I think you gotta get Justin Fields a weapon and just see what he can do.
Rob, this is the first time tonight that I'm really going to disagree with you. I think you have to go O-line here. You give Fields the protection he needs. He doesn't have to tuck it and run it quite as often, even though he's really great at doing it. But you've got a starting wide receiver trio of Moore,
Mooney.
Chase Claypool, and Darnell Mooney, which is
I forgot Claypool was there. Yeah, I forgot Claypool was there.
And you've got a tight end room of Cole Kmet and Robert Tunyon. And then Dante Foreman was awesome on the Panthers last year. I don't know if that's really what he is or if it was just a one-year wonder. But, I mean, he was just really good. I mean, we played him twice, and it was just absolutely brutal in the back half of the year after they traded CMC. I think you protect your guy here. Again, Tyree Wilson is still there. And at this point, like in the draft, every single pick, I'm going to say Tyree Wilson because the value is just ridiculous at this point. But no tackles are off the board. You take your pick of a tackle here, and I think it's the best move for Chicago.
Yeah, no, okay. I honestly forgot that Claypool was there too. I forgot they traded for him last year. I would go tackle here, whether it's Skoronski. Personally, I would just go Paris Johnson because Skoronski's kind of that tweener. They're not really sure what he is. There's a lot of people saying he protects better as a guard, but so I would just take the best pure tackle in the draft. Yeah, like that even matters. Rashawn Slater proved that wrong.
That's true.
AVT for the Jets proved that wrong. He played both tackle positions really well last year when he needed to. So I mean, that's another stigma. The guy that can play, he can play. I mean,
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would go Paris Johnson, the best pure tackle.
Yep.
Yeah, O-line looks good here, man. Dante Foreman ran all over Miami at the end of the year 2 years ago. Miami had to win that game against the Titans, and they're in the playoffs, and Dante Foreman ran all over them. They couldn't stop him. Bears picked up Tremaine Edmonds, linebacker, TJ Edwards, linebacker. Like you said, DJ Moore earlier, so they're ready to go.
Yep.
Pick is in. Well, it's locked. Fucking spelled it wrong. But Paris Johnson, they go to the offensive tackle. Beef up the line, protect your quarterback, allow him to find his receivers. Don't make him run all game. Don't turn him into a running quarterback. Let him use his arm.
Yep. Can't make plays if you're on the ground.
Yeah, so what happened last year? He got busted up too, running so much.
That's true.
Broke down at the end of the year.
So, all right. So, well, that takes us to the Eagles, which what a luxury to be in a Super Bowl, right? and have a top 10 pick.
You can do whatever you want here. You're like, yeah.
All right. All right. Eagles, they had a lot of turnover this offseason. Miles Sanders is gone. TJ Edwards gone. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is gone. John Hargrave is gone. He's probably the biggest loss.
Yep.
Where do you think they go with this pick?
They can do whatever they want.
Like D lineman in the draft early. And so Javon Hargrave, I mean, it's not a pound for pound replacement to put in Tyree Wilson there, but it's a great fit if he really does fall that far again. you didn't really replace your losses on the O-line, where a tackle makes a lot of sense here too. But yeah, like Rob said before, you really can just go anywhere. This is if Atlanta really doesn't take Bijan Robinson, I think this is a prime spot for him too. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Wilson here.
Yeah, just looking at their losses and their acquisitions right now. I mean, lost Miles Sanders. I mean, like Sam said, there really wasn't a lot of 1-for-1 replacement going on. So, I mean, you lost Siamwal, however say his name, the guard. Maybe this is where you go. What's his name? The tackle, the Skoronski, and just plug him in at guard, and then see what happens. And then when the left tackle leaves, maybe plug him in there. You lost Gardner Johnson, so you lost that playmaking. Maybe you get Brian Branch.
I mean, Terrell Edmonds is not a direct replacement for CJ. I mean,
no, not at all. He didn't play that well with the Steelers.
Well, pick is in. Eagles select Lucas Van Ness, edge.
Okay. Still an edge pick. All right. The simulator really doesn't like Wilson, huh?
No. There's always one every year. Always one every year.
I did one maybe like a week ago or something like that where Bijan Robinson fell to the second round. And I was like, no fucking way that he's there at 44. But,
yeah,
they get weird.
No. If for some reason he does fall out of the first round, he's going with one of the top 3 picks in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's going to trade up for him.
Yep.
All right, I was thinking we would do Titans, Texans, and finish off on the Jets since we got random Jets fans.
You don't want to go to Miami's first round pick, bro?
Yeah, we could be on here for a long time.
Yeah.
Better get some food. Yeah, this dude, I'm sorry, but the last, it's not as fun when they don't have a pick, and I think I probably would have rather had the pick than Bradley Chubb. Just saying.
Especially with this injury history.
Yeah, I don't like that, but I mean, whatever, it is what it is.
You can't fault them for trying to go all out,
Yeah. I mean, Bradley.
This is where Wilson is going. Just re-signed Jeffrey Simmons. Going to try to beef up that pass rush. That's where Wilson's going. It's got to be.
Or they take Richardson.
Or that's true. Or Richardson.
I know one thing. They're not winning a Super Bowl with Tannehill.
No.
I mean, they're kind of turning it into a dumpster fire real quick. Just saying.
Yeah.
I think
they are.
That loss of A.J. Brown was huge. I think they would have did better losing Derrick Henry than A.J. Brown.
Yep. And they should have got rid of Derrick Henry this year while he still had some value.
That made no sense. I mean, what is he, 24, 25 still? A.J. Brown?
Derrick Henry?
No, A.J. Brown.
Oh, yeah. He was just about to get paid. They didn't want to pay him, and they thought that Treylon Burks could replace his production.
Yeah, the guy who couldn't even make it through like the first week of training camp.
Yeah, I know.
Because he was so out of shape. Yeah, they, like you said, like Sam said, they turned into a dumpster fire pretty quick, honestly. I think after this season, I think it's just going to kind of get blown up a little bit. I mean, they can still compete in their division. I mean, you got Jacksonville now, but I mean, Indy and Houston, they're not going to do anything. So I think that their hope is to try to just sneak into the playoffs somehow, maybe win the division, and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah, but isn't that how you end up in football purgatory, where you're like a really crappy team, but you get a second place schedule every year?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, and the Tennessee Titans select Anthony Richardson, quarterback.
All right.
Yeah.
He's finally gone.
They gave up on Malik Willis after 1 year. I mean, I know he
Yeah.
can't really do anything, but Richardson's almost just as big of a project. So see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, they really gave up on him after just a few games. I mean, what was his name? Josh Dobbs was starting in a playoff game or the play in your end game.
Yeah, that was dumb.
All right, we got the Houston Texans back on the clock. They went quarterback in the first round. I don't know. I personally like to get a weapon. I like to do what my team didn't for Tua in the draft when you had 2 picks and you could have drafted Justin Jefferson, but we took Austin Jackson. I will go Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, I would say Smith and Jigba or one of the tackles that are left. Try to protect your new quarterback for as long as possible. Have them to grow together.
Well, remember they're also getting back John Mechie, who didn't play at all last year, and he kind of does profile as a slot guy. He can be inside outside. So Smith and Jigba, I would probably stay away from. I think I would probably go O-line here and protect the quarterback investment that I just made. But remember how we were talking about D'Amico Ryans possibly taking a D end at the top of the draft. There happens to be a D end right here that was, the second one on the board. So I think tackle or edge are viable. But if you're going to take a receiver, I think I would lean towards either Quentin Johnson from TCU, who has like Julio Jones type profile, or take Jordan Addison, who's more of like a route runner, number 2 guy.
Yeah, I mean, their weapons, they're really not terrible. They're decent. You can get by with them, especially when you add someone like Dalton Schultz and, Robert Woods, a solid receiver. You said, John Mechie, you have the kid that was from Michigan. Forget his name. But, I mean, their weapons are not terrible.
Nico Collins, you're thinking of, right?
Nico Collins, yeah. You add Devin Singletary. He's decent. So, yeah. I mean, Smith and Jigba is kind of like a luxury pick, or just a weapon in general is a luxury pick. So probably offensive line, or maybe this is where Wilson goes finally. D'Amico gets his defensive player,
Right.
Texans select.
They just don't like him.
The Wilson hate continues. Is he going to the Jets?
I was going to say it's probably going to be the Jets. Watch. I mean, it's not a terrible pick. I mean, to me, Ryan, he's a really good defensive coordinator. He could scheme up things. Smith, he's more of kind of like a rushing linebacker than a hand in the dirt guy. So, I mean, maybe he could scheme something interesting up for him or something. I mean,
he cannot be a hand in the dirt guy. I think he weighs like 226 pounds. Like, he's real small. Like,
he's small.
All right, we got the Jets on the clock. I still have to add Allen Lazard to that slide.
Can we talk about the Aaron Rodgers question mark?
Yeah, he's just trying to figure out his number. That's all. Figure out his number.
That's awesome.
It's gonna happen. Hey, if the Packers want to go to after the draft, that's fine. We'll keep our 2 second-round picks, and they're not getting really jack shit. I mean, especially if you don't know if he's going to play more than 1 year. So, I mean, I'll take that. But, I mean, I think this might be – I mean, if it's not going to do it here, but I think this might be a pick swap opportunity. with the Packers and the Jets. The Jets moved back 2 spots, so they don't have to give up as much. But I mean, if they stay, it's probably going to be offensive line. Whoever's there, Skoronski, Broderick Jones, whoever's there, it's probably going to be O-line if it's not a trade back. If it's a trade back, then I think the top 3 O-line are probably going to be gone. So JD's probably going to trade back a little bit more and maybe get like one of those other guys, like tackle from Tennessee or Anton Harrison or something like that. Or maybe, I mean, they might just file the Bengals, blueprint and just give Aaron Rodgers as many weapons as possible. It doesn't matter if it's their need or not. A couple years ago in the Bengals, Penei Sewell, right? He's going to the Bengals because their offensive line's the worst in the league. No, they take Jamar Chase. So, I mean, maybe something like that happens here, but JD loves his O-line. Everyone saw what happened when the O-line everyone got friggin' hurt. They had like 35 million different starting rotations. So it's probably going to be O-line here. Skoronski still left and Broderick Jones still left on here.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably Skoronski then if they're both still there. I would personally rather take Jones just because he's a natural tackle. But, I mean, it's probably going to be Skoronski in this scenario.
Oh, thanks for Barrios. I like Barrios, by the way. I think he's a decent player. I'll take him.
Yeah, have fun with him fumbling the ball on kickoffs and punt returns and letting the ball go over his head and stop at the 1 yard line. We'll take it.
Hey man, he was like that little freaking termite to Miami. That little bastard. He used to get in the end zone against them.
No matter
Just
what,
hoping you get with the yips.
I totally agree with you for the record, Rob. I mean, obviously you know your team better than I do, but I mean, when you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, you want to protect him, so you're looking at the line. But you're right. Most of the reason why things soured in Green Bay is because they wouldn't give him weapons. So why not shower him with weapons? I don't think that Corey Davis is going to be on your team to start next season. I mean, why wouldn't you replace him with somebody and save the money? There's some good options out there. You have your pick of the litter at this point in the draft, but there's also value in the second round. So I probably would take a tackle here.
Yeah, I think if they don't go receiver here or just a playmaker in general, then it's not going to happen in one of the first 2 rounds. The Jets they really value the offensive line, but I mean today they re-signed what's his name, Oboye, who was the backup right tackle. So I mean, this is where Dwayne Brown coming back really sucks because now it's like he's taking up a roster spot. He's 38 years old, has a bum shoulder. He doesn't want to retire. So it's like this is where it's like maybe they do just load up on playmakers and then get one of those second-tier guys in the second round. Because the thing is, you have a guy like Aaron Rodgers and automatically makes your offensive line better. So you don't need to necessarily draft one of the top guys. You just need somebody who's going to be serviceable. Middle of the pack guy, a good tackle, doesn't have to be a great tackle, just someone that's not going to get Aaron Rodgers killed 15 times a game. And just let him too. What happened?
That's true about receivers too. I mean, Lazard wasn't a huge name, obviously before Rodgers, but none of those guys were really high draft status guys other than Devontae Adams, and Jordy Nelson. But Robert Tonyan came out of nowhere, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, all those guys, he makes them good. You could go either way. You can take a Cedric Tillman in the 3rd round or a Jalen Hyatt in the 2nd round. I mean, I don't know why I went Tennessee both times and turn them into superstars, but I think that the smart move here is line.
Yeah, I think so too. If you're staying here, I think you take O-line.
The Jets select.
I'd rather have that's the guy I want. I want Broderick Jones if between him and Skoronski. I'd rather take Broderick Jones. I know Skoronski has all the hype and everything, but I mean, just give me the best pure tackle available. He's a natural tackle, just give me that. I don't want to mess with all the tweener and all this. Can it translate to the NFL? Just Broderick Jones, he plays left tackle, put him at left tackle.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't count on Mekhi Becton anymore, right?
No, that's
No.
no. I mean,
That was a
he
gamble,
he looks
but-
good. He looks damn good now. He dropped like 40 pounds. He looks really good. But I mean, still, you're 350 pounds on.
He dropped 40 pounds from his belly to his
knee.
ass.
Yeah, well, see what happens. I don't know, but yeah, I think that's a smart move here.
So,
All right.
all
We're going
right.
right.
Well, yeah. That's cool, right? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Good. I think we're gonna be
I think,
solid.
yeah, draft night it'll be cool. Yeah, it's cool, definitely. So, yeah, as far as the flow goes, we went pretty good. You guys talked like in between, which is obviously helpful. I'm filling this shit in, trying to make it decent or whatever, and so it's that's good filler time. It'll definitely be easier during a pick. We'll have more time in between picks on draft night. We weren't taking 10 minutes in between each pick.
Yeah.
But
It'll be good.
Yeah, we got a good show out of us for sure.
So, all right, cool. Yeah. So let me look at this thing real quick. So, all right. So I just filled out these picks here. This is what I would have got all this shit wrong. So, but this is just an example here. Sam, you're on this shit, dude. You were down. You were fucking
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
But,
obviously it gets a little more shaky after pick 8 for some reason, but
hey, that's why you
I'll do all right.
That's why you put that's why you put, instead of drafting, the player, you could put the position in. You know what I mean?
I did think about
You gotta put the player though.
Positions.
Hey man, there's a little strategy there. You guys, and you guys both are tied right now. So, and I forget exactly what it was. There might be a difference depending on who signs where. I think I picked Yannick Ngakoue to go to the Bears, and I saw a thing that said that they were interested. He might go there, so I might bounce up a little bit. But
okay.
You guys both got Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson the same, right? I believe you both picked Tannehill to stay in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's the same. And then your Yannick Ngakoue pick is a difference maker. You know what I'm saying? It's different there. I don't know. I don't think there's any other guys that didn't go anywhere yet.
Okay.
But yeah.
Sounds good.
I'm feeling good this year, man.
I know this.
It's Hopkins,
No,
DeAndre Hopkins. If Hopkins does get traded or whatever,
Okay.
I forget. Yeah. So if he does go, I don't know what you guys picked. It might have been different. There might be a difference there. But either way, it don't matter. This isn't the final, the final scores. I got to fix this over here. But yeah, these are the scores right now as it is.
Cool.
Nice.
So.
All right, boys.
All right, boys.
Percent anyway, so I'm gonna drop out.
All right, man.
All right.
I will.
Good to meet you,
I'll
Rob.
talk to you.
Yeah, good meeting you, Sam.
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right.
Rob,
Yes, sir.
you have a good evening. I'm gonna
You
shut
too.
this off too. Yeah. So yeah, I'll be in touch. And yeah, as far as draft night goes, we'll hook up a little early or whatever, 7:30, whatever. I forget what time it starts.
Yeah, I think it's like 7 or 8, something like that. I don't really know.
But I might mess around with some of this some more so I can get better at, maneuvering this stuff so I can just get the transitions quicker and whatnot. But we'll
Cool.
see.
It'll
All
be
right.
fun.
Have a good night, man.
You too. Later.
Later.